Hey everyone, Brandon here with Galway Precision. Today we're going to go over the installation of the RatRod trigger in the 1095. This will also cover the 4595 and 4095 carbines. They are slightly different from the 9mm in that they don't have a shelf for us to adjust the over travel screw to, so it'll actually come with a 1/2 inch screw for you to swap out the post travel screw, because the screw will then stop against the mag body, and we'll get to that when we get to that point. Alright, so first, tools you're going to need. If you got your takedown tool, which I of course have managed to put mine somewhere, no idea where it's at, you'll need your takedown tool for a couple of things. I've already taken the liberty of loosening this with a wrench, but you'll need your takedown tool. You need a 3/32 punch, your 2mm, your 1/16, an 050 Allen wrench, brass polymer hammer, bench block, small flathead screwdriver, gun oil, and of course some blue Loctite or VC3. So let's go ahead and lock and clear. Weapon is visually and physically empty. I'll go ahead and start taking it down. First things first, we're going to remove our charging handle. Alright, we'll set it off to the side. Next, we'll come up here and you may need to use your screwdriver. These are pretty tight sometimes. And pop that up. That's going to allow us to take the top part of the, send that flying, top part of the rail system off. Set it off to the side. Okay. Alright, now ready to flip upside down. This is where I like to take my flathead, put it up underneath your plate here. I'll take your 3/32, your brass. Alright, so we tap that plate off. You can go ahead and pull your screwdriver out and just finish tapping that out of there. You got an optic on here like ours is, you can go ahead and take it off too if you want, make life easier. And then just flip, or use, if you don't have a combo hammer, use your polymer. Drive the plate the rest of the way off. We're going to set it off to the side. Now we're ready to depress the takedown, and I like to take my cut flat blade, grab a hold of that little hole there and just push it back while I take out the first takedown. Now remember, these are spring loaded, so you need to be pushing from the opposite side to get it to come up so you can unlock it. Alright, pop that one out, set it off to the side. We're ready to take the shroud off now. That's going to come right off. We're going to set it off to the side. Now we'll double check to make sure that we've got everything unattached so we can pull the action out. So we've pulled off our retention blade here. Got the top off, everything's off, so we're ready to pull the action just straight on out. Set it down on the bench. We're going to set our stock down. Alright, now we're ready to get to work. Now it's very similar in the way that it breaks down to the pistols. So you're actually going to pull this all the way to the rear. And some of this I'll have to do off camera just because, I ain't got a whole lot of room. The difference being, on this one, you've got this locking piece. Alright, so I'm going to take and get it going out of the way. Once you get it going, you should be able to grab it, but this is a brand new rifle for all intents and purposes. It's a little stiff. So we'll take our polymer and we'll tap that back to where we get this lined up here. Alright, so then you'll pull all the way to the rear. Make sure you have a hold of this thing, okay? This is where we're gonna pop our little plastic piece here off. Not all the way off, just forward. Enough to where it will get the bolt out of the way. Bolt carrier, I should say. Alright. If you want now to, now is the time to swap out for your stainless steel guide rod while you have it all apart. We'll set that all off over there. Now, you can go one of two ways. If you're doing this on the 1095, it's already threaded. You can go ahead and pull your thread protector off. You'll pull your this piece off. I forget what it's called in the diagram. And we'll pull our bolt assembly off. Alright, so now what we're looking at is the barreled action. Okay? So we've got our barrel, it's held in place right here. Also here. And very, very much just like the pistol. The difference being they have a plate on these to keep the sear arm, or the sear lever I should say, and the trigger bar from walking, which happens sometimes in the pistols. That's actually something we're working on, either a small steel, aluminum, or 3D printed Kevlar plate that will actually attach inside the high point grip and make sure that these two can't walk at all. Alright, so ours, on this one, the trigger pin is going to come out left to right. Okay, so take our bench block, take our 2mm, sorry, not the 2mm, your 1/16. I should know better than that, but sometimes I grab the wrong tool for the wrong thing. No biggie. We got it coming out, so go ahead and remove your trigger pivot. Now we'll pull forward on the trigger to where we can get to our pin that holds the trigger bar in place. We're going to just tap that out so we can get the trigger and the trigger bar out along with the pin and the return spring. Now, we will not be reusing the stock return spring. We now include a trigger return spring with the RatRod to give a better reset, stronger reset. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll remove the old 5/16 set screw, or well, no, I think that's a 1/4, 3/8 something. I don't remember off the top of my head. And we're going to put in our 1/2 inch screw. Okay, so go ahead and treat it with Loctite. If you're using VC3 instead of Loctite, go ahead and pause the video. Let it sit and cure for about 15-20 minutes. That is way too much. We'll get some of that off there. Now we'll go back. There we go. And then come on back to the video. Alright, so we've got our Loctite on. We'll get our screw going. Sorry about that, had to take a call. So we've gone ahead and moved our post-travel screw a couple threads out, and take our trigger return spring, put it in. Now unfortunately the way this is, you got to put the trigger bar in first. You can't assemble everything outside of the rifle and then put it in. So it becomes kind of a almost blind pin type thing going on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our pin started. I like to take my small flathead with the magnetic end on it. Oh, no. And like I said, this is going to be the most difficult part of the whole thing. Not so much difficult, just tedious, because everything's got to line up just right. Okay, so I like to take my little magnetic piece here, get it all lined up, and get the trigger bar lined up with the return spring, and I get the pin started. While I hold the spring in place, I'll take my polymer, ideally, and start tapping on that. Now it's probably going to move around a little bit. If it does, you're going to have to come to the other side and look. Make sure you get everything lined up. Okay, it's going to be tricksy on you. So you can take your 1/16 and use it as a guide pin. Okay, we'll take our get it started, and then we'll take our 3/32 and we'll start tapping in. And it moved immediately because it hates us. But I think we might be in the hole. We are not in the hole. While the plate works wonders for the disconnect on this thing, it makes it a giant pain in the butt to switch out triggers. So we'll go back to using our 1/16 as our guide pin. Got everything lined up. Maybe it's pretending it wants to be lined up. So basically, you're just going to stand here for the next 5-10 minutes and do this until it decides to cooperate. Oh, and our trigger turn spring decided to fall out. So I'll just pick that up, put that back in there. Kind of important. Importante. All right, now many people are probably going, why aren't you just using the trigger pivot to hold it in place? Well, I would, except for the fact that the pivot just offsets it just enough to where it won't line up on the trigger bar while you're trying to do this type of stuff. So it's kind of a not really an option. Alright, I think, nope. It's like, haha, I'm going to play with your emotions. Now everybody sees why I've been putting this off. Alright. Okay, one more time. All right, so we're gonna make sure the trigger bar is in there. We're gonna pull on our trigger. Everything seems to be good. We want to make sure that we seat it all the way so it's equidistant so the trigger can move in its housing. We're gonna take our trigger pivot pin and we're going to put that back in place. Alright, I like to take my 3/32 and give it a little tap. Don't gotta hit it hard, it just needs to be flush on the right side. Alright, so everything's working, so we can go ahead and put everything back together again. So we will start by putting our bolt carrier back on. Make sure that your lock is forward. Line it all up. Oh, nope. That ain't gonna work without a guide rod and recoil spring, is it? So we'll go ahead and put that back in. Again, if you've got your stainless carbine, go ahead and install that while you got it all apart. Alright, now, and this can happen sometimes because that thing's kind of floppy, just tap it back. Alright, so that's on. We need to put our little barrel piece on here. This holds the barrel, keeps it flat so it doesn't flop around while you're shooting to the chassis. Even though it's attached back here, you really need 2 points of attachment. So So then we're going to go ahead and put it back all back in stock. Lay that right down in there. And take our shroud. Actually, we'll go ahead and put on this plate so that everything stays in place while we're putting the top parts on, and then we'll get to adjustment. Just take your Palmer hammer and knock that in place. Flip it over, put our shroud back on. Alright, if you're shooting a newer one, you're going to have this right here, so make sure that goes in first. Goes right into place. Okay. We're going to put our takedown pins back in. Now, even when you put these back together, you got to make sure everything's lined up, but more importantly, when you go to do this, outside of lining everything up, you will push in on it. Now, ours is still real tight. We've only put about 200 rounds through this thing. It's basically still brand new. Alright, so once you have that in place, you can take your 3/32, tap that up, make sure it locks right in. Okay, and do the same thing for the other side. Okay, we're ready to put our top cover back on. Go down, lock that in place. All right, now we'll put our charging handle back on. So that we can start function testing. All right, so we can rack it, pull the trigger and hold it, rack it, listen for the reset, hammer falls. Now we're ready to adjust. Now, like I said before, there is no shelf like there is on the 380 and 9mm versions of the carbine. The shelf is open. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust it with that 1/2" screw to the front of the mag body. All right. Where it sits, it's not going to interfere with the mag release or anything else. It's literally going to touch right about there. Okay. So put your mag in. We're going to take our 050 that I think I shot across the way when everything came apart earlier. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing way out until we feel it touch the mag. This is going to take a little while. So flip her upside down. Reason we're doing this is we're going to check it here in a second after we get it way out. Rack it, pull the trigger, and we don't want the hammer to fall. Okay, and from there we'll adjust out till the hammer falls, just like normal. This may be one of the more boring videos for you guys. Me struggling for 5 minutes and me adjusting for ever and a day. But I will tell you this, it's going to be worth it when we're done. Makes these carbines a completely different shooting experience having the RatRod in them. And there's no reason to squeeze as much performance out of these bad boys as you can. They're rock solid. I've had one for about a decade. It's probably got about 6,000 rounds through it. Never had a failure. And there'll be people out there going, boo, 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 High Point. Dude, here's why I respect High Point. They don't BS you about what they're selling. They don't come up with excuses. They flat out look at you and go, it's a cheap gun and it works. If you feed these things decent brass and stay away from steel on the pistols, dude, you're golden. My C9 that we used for the original RatRod installation, that thing's probably got 3,000 rounds on it. Never had an issue. Alright. And we're getting there. And the reason we don't have the screws sticking way out when we first reinstall everything is you don't want it so far out that when you go to put the mag in, you hit it, because then you're gonna mess up the mag. The set screws are hardened steel, so you're gonna sit there and beat on it, and it's little going, what is going on? Break it, and then be upset. See, let's see here. Run out of adjustment. It's gonna go right to the very end. It is. Getting there. Alright, so you saw where we had a little we're just about there. You'll feel it when it starts hitting the mag too. So once you get a little delay, give it a couple more turns and it should be there. Alright, so see how we have almost no movement? You can hear it hitting the mag. Alright. So we are there. Alright. So now we don't get the hammer falling. So what we're going to do is we're going to start backing it off, quarter turn at a time, counterclockwise, until we get hammer drop. Once we get hammer drop, we'll give it one more quarter turn. We'll let it sit for a couple hours to let the Loctite dry out. If it's VC3, you're good to go. It's already cured from waiting earlier. Oh, we're there. Look at that. Stops. Boom. Reset. Stop. Boom. 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 So now if you really want to fine tune it, we can actually sit here and get it right on the money. And it will give you the shortest pull available on the market for these great little carbines, which we're going to go ahead and fine tune it. Most people, you'll get to that point and give it a 1/4 turn and that'll be it. But if you really want to get your money's worth out of this bad boy, we're going to fine tune it. All right, there, and we're getting there. It's about touching. Oh yeah. All right, now this right here, we're going to be dead on and perfect now. 1/4 turn. I really wish it wouldn't hold open when I'm trying to do this. And there you go, guys. Barely past center it breaks. It resets back where it should be. And that's it. So there you have it. That is the RatRod install on the model 1095, 4595, and 4095 series of carbines. We'll let this bad boy dry, and then we'll go in and do a little bit of shoosting into the blast box, let you see what it does. It'll also give me time to tighten this back down with the wrench. Remember, don't lose your takedown tool that comes with it like I did. And that's going to wrap it up, guys. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me at that's Tango Echo Charlie Hotel at GallowayPrecision.com. Be sure to follow us on social media here on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe below. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Man, get that grease off there. Yeah, before anyone freaks out, that's not a mark. That's grease from the inside of the gun. Where was I? Oh yeah, follow us on social media on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe below. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Gunstreamer, and Vimeo. And as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless. All right, we're in the boom room. We got our 1095, got our RatRod installed, got us a full mag that needs dumped. Let's make some magic happen. And as you can see from the video, you can see where the stop screw is going to stop. That was too much fun. We got to do one more mag. Really speeds this thing up with that flatter face and the post travel stop. But yeah, that was too much fun. We got to do one more. Now, we haven't done it yet, but we're going to pull the mag apart today. Looking at it, I think we may be able to do an extension on it, +1, +2 maybe. We'll find out though. In the meantime, another mag. RatRod and a 10 mil. In the 1095, the installation video will cover the 1095, the 4095, and the 4595. If you're putting it in your 9 mil or 380, that video is already up on the YouTube channel and the website. And that's it. Definitely great. This is going to be a fun hog rifle. That's what we're going to end up turning this one into. So, be real interesting to see what we come up with. Probably do a compensator, some other stuff. But that's going to be it, guys. So, as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.